Anti-Afro Svengalis. I was planning to do this video. I just put it to the top of the list. And obviously, there's some new data and facts that have come to light, circumstances I needed to highlight. So it's kind of a good thing that I'm doing it at this point. Another reason why I'm doing this video is because there were some complaints that I was talking about the subject of this video. And I'm going to make sure I say the person's name. I know we use nicknames for this person. I want to make sure we're clear that I'm talking about Propane Oak Lane. There was a complaint that I'm talking about him. So what? Propane Oak Lane talks about whoever he wants to talk about. This happens to include me, who he's made money off. Yeah, I'm talking about Propane Oak Lane. The person complaining prides herself on dragging people, but for some reason, no one else can say anything about others. Too bad. Here it goes. I'm going to talk about Propane Oak Lane whenever I want to talk about him. I got plenty of reasons to talk about him. So whenever I want to get up here and post a video about him, I'll do it. Or about anybody else for that matter. So here goes. I'm going to give you like a brief history. Generally speaking, let's go back to in and around September/October 2020. Propane became more known. He got higher on the profile list because people were coming up saying all these things about Umar. He was banging on the drum and doing this funny skit. It was funny. And people kind of said, hey, who is this guy? More and more people were finding out who he was. He had issues with Umar, as most people did. And he was giving his opinion about Umar. He decides to go and start posting videos. In and around that time, he ended up doing an interview with Lennon. However, before he did that, when he was posting from his phone, his cell phone, I will tell you how he presented. It's nothing like what he's doing now. How he was then, at first, he said very little. And I recall the reason why I tuned into his channel for the most part because I'm an animal lover. And he had the cat there. I can look at animals all day. So that was one of the reasons why I was attracted to Propane Oak Lane's channel. At any rate, he would sit there and he would have some music, some tunes, and he would be mainly, this is in the earliest days, rocking back and forth. And I recall thinking a few times when I saw that, I thought he was sick, like had the flu or something, because he would have a blanket over him and he would have very limited engagement with the audience. So as time went on, he started getting his confidence built up. Yes, we recognize that YouTube and social media helps a lot of people come out of their shell because he didn't really want to engage the audience. It was obvious. So as more and more bizarre stories started coming out about people who were taking Umar Johnson to task, he still aligned himself with the perspective that Umar needed to be held accountable. I'm not even going to say, like people love to say, oh, are you AFW or are you Cookie Crush Chat? It doesn't matter. The fact is, he was questioning Umar Johnson like a lot of us were. He went over and did an Umar content video with Lennon. And he was so happy to be on Lennon's show. I mean, he was having some difficulty getting his words out. He was just so happy to be on the interview. So after that comes more of the push to attack people who were holding Umar Johnson accountable. And just so you know, AFW, friends and supporters, we've been the same way we've always been. And it's okay if people want to call us a clique, they can. We stood true and continue to stand true to what we believe in. The vast majority of people who started with us from the beginning are still here. And we have a focus and we have a purpose. And if you're interested in supporting our mission, you're welcome. If you come here and you try to sit here and change everything around and try to get us to hook up with demons, That's not what we're into. We're into focusing on what we need to do to get situations rectified and circumstances corrected. And we've made many strides. The purpose isn't for us to come on here and beg people to believe us. Facts are the facts. So back to propane. So there becomes increased pressure on those who can't take pressure. That has nothing to do with us. If someone else feels they can't take the heat, that has nothing to do with AFW. They were getting vicious with their attacks on propane, saying that he was born with certain types of damage. I'm not going to use the R word. That's what Let Me See Your Hand, because she likes to use that word on people. Saying that he couldn't speak right, that he would never be able to be like a normal person. I mean, they were saying it. I am being kind in how I am describing it, but they were being very descriptive in saying that he was a flawed human being based on genetics or the way he was born. So that was part of how and why propane caved. It was all in this ball of wax that they were coming at him, and he couldn't handle it. Propane had a boost. It just wasn't pressure about supporting Umar Johnson's fraudulent ways being exposed. Propane was propelled into making a decision about what side he'd land on when the goo guys came up and their main focus was man-to-man sex acts and male body parts and calling every guy gay and targeting people saying they're DL and all this ridiculously childish bullshit. And the campaign against Lennon Honor began about these lies about hooking up with married men. They started it on Gerald, and Propane loved it. He found his niche. He liked that strategy, and that's what pushed him over to the goo guys. It wasn't because he had some issue with Lennon Honor. He loved the fact that they would be talking about this. And let me fast forward. Just before I left Propane's channel, and I'm going to get into that, so hold on for that. He came on, he was going to be talking about something that was going on. I don't remember what the issue was, but people obviously were waiting to hear about this topic. But what did Propane want to talk about? There was some rapper who did a song, and there were two men in bed, and Propane was just all laughing. He wanted to talk about it. And the girlfriend over there was saying, no, we don't want to talk about that. Well, no, I want to know why. Two men. He was smiling and laughing. He wanted to talk about that stuff. That is why he went over to the goo guys, not because he had an issue with Lennon Honor. Oh, please, people. He was one of those that gets off on having those discussions. Those graphic, sexually focused discussions involving men on men. In particular, trying to hone in and loop in people who have absolutely no association with being gay, but he wants to try to make it appear that there's a question. So he decided what he was going to do. You can do what the hell he wants, but don't come up here and act like you had an issue with Lennon Honor because of the money. You didn't, because you ended up doing what he did. You were attracted to the fact that they were talking about men-to-men sex acts. And TCTV was heading up the charge, and they had Tiff Griff up there. They want to call somebody a beard. She would go up there so it wouldn't be all men. And then this Catherine Brown comes on, and then you have a couple of people coming in and out. The only person I would give credit to would be Oracle, because you could tell she stood on her own and wasn't trying to be a flunky for anybody. But those other females were clearly serving a role, because they would join in these discussions and try to buffer the fact that these males were so hyper-focused on men sex acts and accusing, and I put it as an accusation in quotations, because they were posing as an accusation that these married men were with these gay dudes and getting paid and lovers, and the wife didn't know. It's like, I think it's like one of those fantasies, one of those bizarre titles that you see in porn shots or porn advertisements about gay and it's secret and this is so exciting. They got off on that shit. So that's why Propane decided to jump in with the goo guys. Okay, so he gets a boost in his subs. He did. Because the goo guys rewarded him. And off he goes. And what I thought was very interesting, you have these hypocrites who claimed to be supporting Lenin, and they didn't have any problem with what Propane did. Again, it's a free country, but they want to talk about people. I'm loyal and I support you, Lenin. But he was up here trashing Lenin and accusing him of all this crap, or supporting the accusations rather. And you have these backstabbers running over to Lenin's channel, still trying to play both ends against the middle. And what was going on at the time, I'll go ahead and disclose this. We were doing recon missions, and we were getting these people who were trying to play this double duty, going over to these chats where Lenin was being trashed, his family was being attacked, and they'd go over to Lenin's channel and, oh, Lenin, we love you. But he was pre-blocking. That's how Lenin was able to make so much money, because we helped him identify the people who were stabbing him in the back, and he would block them so he could continue doing the content and getting the money rolling in from all these different directions. That's what happened. So, moving on. Propane continues to build more confidence. People are trying to tell him how great he is. He starts to push his, quote, reputation as a rapper. People felt sorry for him and were telling him how great he was. Okay, fine. Sometimes he would have lyrics that were somewhat funny, but he doesn't have the cadence of a rapper. Rappers don't have to have the same cadence, but you got to have some cadence. It's got to flow. And I'm not even an expert, but I am a consumer. You need to have cadence in your rap, and you don't. It's not attractive. It's not catching. You're just throwing words together. Sometimes the words are funny, but they don't capture anything. They don't grab you. A lot of his things are manufactured, and he doesn't have any talent independent of stringing some words together. And a lot of times he doesn't even use his own beats. He doesn't have creativity in beat development. Now, I'm learning a lot more since the situation with Remix and KKC, but I noticed that Propane never had a attractive cadence to his rap. So I'm going to throw in some facts for you. His family owns a record label / radio station, and they couldn't even get him on. It's like 18 years ago. They were trying to push him into the industry, and nobody wanted to get him. So he continues living this pipe dream that he's some highfalutin, I'm going to make it any day rapper. No, you're not going to make it, because you would have made it by now. And let me say this. There are talented people out there who don't make it because it doesn't line up right. But how in the world can you make it in the rap industry and you're not talented? That's not going to happen, because people aren't going to tolerate that. You can have a relative who's an actor and an actress, and they can get you in the door, and they can say, oh my God, the person's cute. This is so-and-so's daughter. But eventually you have to stand on your own, because people are here to make money. They're not going to keep pushing records out for somebody who doesn't make any money. So if you have relatives to put you up and you still can't make it, well, where does that put you? That means that you did not have everything together enough so they would notice you and give you a chance. So here he is on YouTube trying to make it seem that he's better than everybody when it comes to rapping. You're not better than anybody. In fact, you are the lowest of the low when it comes to people here on YouTube. I guess I never heard King Kong Crazy actually rap a tune, but I'm told the mixing is not good. And I didn't know who was doing the mixing. Let's talk about that for a second. I had no idea. I didn't know Remix personally at the time. I wasn't familiar with his skills. I just know whatever was created on KKC's channel was off the chart hot. Bottom line. So we've since learned who is the creator and the originator of those beats. It was Remix. But here you have Propane Oaklane running around here trying to elevate himself as if he's better than several other people right here in these YouTube streets. And some of the names I'm not going to mention because I don't deal with them. They have a talent for mixing the records, and nobody's challenging them as far as it being their product. You got Remix. We have my friend Rev G. There are other people clearly have talents that far surpass Propane's. And he's talking about, well, I'm not going to waste my time here on YouTube. And I'm not going to show people That is very stupid because you can be discovered on YouTube. Your family didn't help you make it, but somebody here could hear your beats and say, hey, you got something here. That's what's happening to Rev G. He's making money on YouTube, not in this space, in other spaces, because people like what he produces. And you don't know what Remix or anyone else is really doing. And I wouldn't trust a situation of coming on here and giving a lot of details. Maybe they have a hookup on the outside. You don't know what people are doing, and it would be wise if they don't disclose it because people like to destroy people's opportunities. So what I want to say to that, Propane started getting more and more full of himself, putting down people as if he's holier than thou when it comes to rapping. This is what he's trying to portray, that he's better. So in comes this contest for rapper. I did not listen to the contest. I heard about it. How? Because Propane was talking about it on his channel. They were voting for the best rapper or the best music person in and around the Umar Johnson sector. And so when Propane did a live, he came on and he was talking about it and he was pissed. And I was confused about what happened because I didn't listen to it. He was basically, no, let me tell you, he specifically, I don't want to say basically, he was mad because of how the voting went. And based on how he was talking, I thought he lost. But I was incorrect. I got that clarity by sending Reggie a text message. What's happening? I'm confused. What's going on here? He's telling me Propane won. And I was even more confused. What the hell is he so mad about? And then he lets it be known why he's so pissed off. Gerald congratulates Propane because he won. Listen, everybody, this video is going longer than I expected, so I'm going to do a part 2. So be sure you look for part 2 that will go up the same time as part 1. In the meantime, you know the drill. Buyer beware.